There is a kind of creature in the world that has been discovered by a few people but has not been confirmed to exist. We call this kind of creature an identified mysterious animal, or UMA for short. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA video series. Water monsters have always been a topic that people are happy to discuss since ancient times. From rivers to the sea, they can be found in almost all waters, big and small. Today, I will share with you the African Lake Victoria monster Lukwata mentioned in the previous article. Lukwata refers to an aquatic creature in folklore around Lake Victoria, including Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and many tributaries. This creature is usually described as a giant fox demon. It is a giant snake, whale, or a strange giant fish. It is 20 to 30 feet long, with a round head, smooth black skin, and, like most water monsters, an underwater part that cannot be identified. Since ancient times, the Bantu tribes around the lake have worshipped this creature. They believe that when Lukwata appears, it will bring good luck to people and mean a good harvest and a large number of cattle and sheep in the coming year. The most famous sighting of Lukwata occurred in 1900 when British diplomat Clement Lloyd Hill discovered the creature during a visit to British East Africa. Hill himself did not make an official statement or leave any written evidence of his experience, but because he liked to make friends, he told the story to 4 other people, including British explorer Harry Johnston, Charles William Hobley, the British East African colonial administrator Hector Livingston Duff, the governor of East Nyasaland, and Henry Huskus Bell, the British colonial administrator, recorded the versions they heard in their respective works. Due to the differences in the descriptions of several people, the author will not list them one by one here. I roughly summarize the story. In 1900, Hill took a steamboat from Kisumu to Entebbe. When leaving Mount Homa, a beast suddenly emerged from the water and tried to grab the locals sitting on the bow. Although he failed, the huge force almost overturned the motorboat. Hill was sure that what he saw was not a crocodile. The head of the creature was round or square, raised high above the water like a lizard, with a neck nearly 4 feet long and a part of the body submerged in the water. The part above the water was a large, round, elongated mass, like a hump. He even saw a tail-like part, which the local crew on the ship called Lukwata. It is worth mentioning that the last recorder, Henry Huskus Bell, mentioned his own experience in his book Witch Language in addition to introducing Hill's story. While traveling on the western border of Uganda, he saw an unusual creature emerging from the lake, and he shot it immediately. The local boy accompanying him recognized it as a small Lukwata, who described it as having a snake-like head, a neck and tail several inches long, flippers like turtles, and a thick, soft, rubbery shell. So Bell thought Lukwata might be a strange turtle-like creature. The exact time of the second sighting is unknown, but according to the information I have found, it should have happened between 1892 and 1900. William Grant, the commissioner of Jinjia province, described to Charles William Hobley that he had seen an animal swimming in Napoleon Bay on the shore of Lake Victoria in Uganda. His head was above the water, but because it was too far away, his facial features could not be seen clearly. The last sighting occurred in late 1959. The Coxes saw a humpbacked creature swimming in the water at Pulu Bay in Lake Victoria, Kenya. It was 20 to 30 feet long, with a black snake-like head that was partially submerged in the water and moved vertically. It was moving very fast and headed straight for the center of the lake. The above series of sightings gave people enough room for imagination. So did this large aquatic creature really exist? First of all, Lake Victoria is the largest freshwater lake in the world after Lake Superior, and its biological population is extremely rich, including more than 200 species of fish that have been identified. Many netizens believe that the story of Lukwata is exaggerated and that it may actually be a huge fish, such as the Nile perch, which can grow up to 2 meters in size. The behemoth weighing 400 kilograms has almost no natural enemies in Lake Victoria, But this theory is very flawed, because the Nile perch was only introduced into the lake in the 1950s, which had a disastrous impact on the local ecosystem at the time. But this does not match the time of Luke Wada's appearance at all. In fact, several narrators of Hill's story have different guesses about Luke Wada, such as Hector Duff, who believed it was a large African rock python. This is the largest snake in Africa, with a body length of up to 7.5 meters. But the problem is that rock pythons are not fast, and they mostly appear in swamps and will not reach the center of the lake. Bell insisted on his view that it was a large African soft-shelled turtle. Several other speculations came from wildlife biologist Bernard Heuvelmans. The first one was that he thought it had a snake-like head and a bulging neck. This reminds people of the famous Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster is generally believed to be a long-necked sea snake creature, a giant long-necked pinniped, a relative or evolutionary form of the so-called plesiosaur. He believes that this is a surviving species trapped in the lake due to the drop in sea level. But using an undefined species to define an unknown creature is obviously not convincing. The second guess is that he thinks it is a large fish, such as the marbled lungfish commonly seen in the lake. Or maybe it was a Wendu neonfish, which he used to explain Hill's story, because a hungry neonfish is fully capable of attacking humans in a canoe. In summary, the author believes that the possibility of Luke Wada's existence is there, but it is not great. First of all, considering the area of Lake Victoria, which is nearly 70,000 square kilometers, it is not impossible for a large aquatic predator to exist. And according to the size described by the eyewitnesses, it can completely become the dominant existence in Lake Victoria. But the problem is that there have been no sightings since the 1950s. Coincidentally, the Nile perch introduced in the same era has thrived in the lake. So the author believes that Luke Wada may not be as huge as people describe. In addition, Heuvelmans has a third guess, that Luke Wada is not a single species, which the author agrees with the most. Because the origin of the name Luke Wada has not been traced, the locals cannot give a comprehensive explanation. But what we know is that Lu means giant in Ganda, and Wata means to catch, so Luke Wada is probably a common term used by the locals for undefined creatures in the water. It is not an animal name, so there are a series of sightings with different descriptions. To this day, we still don't know what Luke Wada really is. Maybe it is a giant python, maybe it is a giant turtle, or maybe it is really a plesiosaur marine reptile that survived the Cretaceous period and the mass extinction of dinosaurs. As the saying goes, the unknown is always greater than the known, and this is the charm of UMA. Well, this video ends here. Thank you for watching.